Shri Guru Shiyatha Bharakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Rana Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanachana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Garganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarka Chailanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Madeka Sharanam Yashishvara Shidaram Vanshakopatarubyasya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna das Kavi Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila, chapter 16. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tastes nectar from the lips of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay. This is verse number 88. Henakali Gopal Balaba Bhoga Lagaila Shanka Ganta Adisaha Arati Bajila. The offering of food known as Gopal Vallabha Bhoga was then given to Lord Jagannath, and arti was performed with the sound of the conch and the ringing of bells. Bhoga Sarile Jagannathera Sevaka Gan Prashada Loya Prabhutai Koila Agaman. When the arti finished, the prashadam was taken out, and the servants of Lord Jagannath came to offer some to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mala Parana Prasada Dila Prabhurhate Ashwada Dure Rahul Jara Gande Manamate. The servants of Lord Jagannath first garlanded Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then offered him Lord Jagannath's prashadam. The prashadam was so nice that its aroma alone, to say nothing of its taste, would drive the mind mad. Bahumuya prasad se bastu sarvatam taraupa kal jaite sevaka korila jatan. The prashadam was made of very valuable ingredients. Therefore, the servant wanted to feed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a portion of it. Tara alpaloya prabhu jivate jadidila arasab govindera anshale bandila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted a portion of the prashadam. Govinda took the rest and bound it in the end of his wrapper, in the end of his cloth. Koti amrita shwara paya prabhura chamatkar sarvange pulaka netre bahe ashridar. To Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the prashadam tasted millions upon millions of times better than nectar, and thus he was fully satisfied. The hair all over his body stood on end, and incessant tears flowed from his eyes. Edrabyeta swara kahan hoite aila Krishnara adharamrita ite sancharila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered, where has such a taste in this prashadam come from? Certainly it is due to its having been touched by the nectar of Krishna's lips. E budye Mahaprabhu prema vesha hoila Jagannathara sevak deki samvarana koila. Understanding this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt an emotion of ecstatic love for Krishna, but upon seeing the servants of Lord Jagannath, he restrained himself. Sukriti labhya fela labha bolan bar bar. Ishvara sevaka puche ki arta ihar. The Lord said again and again, only by great fortune may one come by a particle of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. The servants of the Jagannath temple inquired, what is the meaning of this? The remnants of Krishna's food are mixed with his saliva. In the Mahabharata and the Skanda Purana it is stated, Mahaprashade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punya Vatam Rajan Vishvasa Naiva Jayate. Persons who are not very highly elevated in pious activities cannot believe in the remnants of food, prashadam of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor in Govinda, the holy name of the Lord, nor in the Vaishnavas. Prabhu kohe eje dila Krishna-nama Brahmade durlabha nindaye amrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, these are remnants of food that Krishna has eaten and thus turned to nectar with his lips. It surpasses heavenly nectar, and even such demigods as Lord Brahma find it difficult to obtain. Krishnara je bhukta sesha tara fela nam tara ek lava je bhai se bhagyavan. Remnants left by Krishna are called fela. Anyone who obtains even a small portion must be considered very fortunate. Samanya bhagya hoite dhara prapti nahi hoy Krishnara jate purna kripa setaha pai. One who is only ordinarily fortunate cannot obtain such mercy. Only persons who have the full mercy of Krishna can receive such remnants. Sukriti shabde kohe Krishna kripa hetu punya se jara hoy fela pai se danya. The word sukriti refers to pious activities performed by the mercy of Krishna. One who is fortunate enough to obtain such mercy receives the remnants of the Lord's food and thus becomes glorious. Itabole prabhuta sabare vidai dila upala boga dekiya prabhu nijabasa aila. After saying that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to all the servants. After seeing the next offering of food to Lord Jagannath, a function known as upala bog, he returned to his own quarters. Madhyana Koriya Koila Bika Nirbahan Krishna adharamrita sada antare smaran. After finishing his noon duties, Mahaprabhu ate his lunch, but he continually remembered the remnants of Krishna's food. Bhaya kritya koren preme garagaraman kashte samvarana koren avesha sangan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his external activities, but his mind was filled with ecstatic love. With great difficulty, he tried to restrain his mind, but it would always be overwhelmed by very deep ecstasy. Sandhya kritya kori puna nijagana sange nibritte basila nana Krishna kata range. After finishing his evening duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down with his personal associates in a secluded place and discussed the pastimes of Krishna in great jubilation. Prabhura ingite Govinda prashada anila Puri bharatire Prabhu kichu pataila. Following the indications of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda brought the prashadam of Lord Jagannath. The Lord sent some to Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati. Ramananda Sarvabhauma Swarupade Gane Sabare Prashada Dila Koriya Bantane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave shares of the prashadam to Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and and all the other devotees. Prasadera sorabhya madhurya koryashvadan alokika shwade sabar bishmita hoilaman. As they tasted the uncommon sweetness and fragrance of the prasadam, everyone's mind was struck with wonder. Prabhu ko hai sab hoy prakrita dravya aikshaba karpura moricha elaicha lavanga gavya rasabas garat baka arijatasab prakrita bastura swada sabara anubhav. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, these ingredients such as sugar, camphor, black pepper, cardamom, cloves, butter, spices, and licorice are all material. Everyone has tasted these material substances before. The word prakrita refers to things tasted for the sense gratification of the conditioned soul. Such things are limited by the material laws. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make the point that material things have already been experienced by materially absorbed persons who are interested only in sense gratification. Se dravye eta ashwad ganda lokatita ashwara koriya deka sabara pratita. However, the Lord continued, in these ingredients there are extraordinary taste and uncommon fragrances. Just taste them and see the difference in the experience. Ashwara dure rahu jara gande mate man apana bhina anya madhurya koraya vishmaran. Apart from the taste, even the fragrance pleases the mind and makes one forget any other sweetness besides its own. Tate e dravye Krishna dara sparsha hoila adarera gunasab ihate sancharila. Therefore it is to be understood that the spiritual taste of Krishna's lips has touched these ordinary ingredients and transformed them and transferred to them all their spiritual qualities. Therefore it is to be understood that the spiritual nectar of Krishna's lips has touched these ordinary ingredients and transferred to them all their spiritual qualities. Since everyone had previously tasted these ingredients, why had they become extraordinary and spiritually delicious? This was proof that food, prashadam, becomes uncommonly flavorful and delicious by touching Krishna's lips. Alokika ganda swara anya vishmaran maha madaka hoy e Krishna dar areragun. A fragrance and taste that are uncommon and greatly enchanting, and that makes one forget all other experiences are attributes of Krishna's lips. Aneka sukrite iha hayache samprapti sabe eya shwarakora kore mahabhakti. This prashadam has been made available only as a result of many pious activities. Now taste it with great faith and devotion. Haridwane kore shabe koila ashwadan ashwadite preme mata hoila sabarman. Loudly chanting the holy name of Hari, all of them tasted the prasadam. As they tasted it, their minds became mad in the ecstasy of love. Prema Veshe Mahaprabhu Jabe Antya-lila Ramananda Roy Shloka Parite Lagila. In ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Roy to recite some verses. Thus Ramananda Roy spoke as follows. Surata Vardhanam Shoka Nashanam Swarita Venuna Shushtu Chumbitam Itara Raga Vishmaranam Nrinam Vitara Viranaste Dharamamritam. Surata Vardhanam Shokanashanam Svarita Venuna Shushtu Chumbitam Itara raga vishmaranam nrinam vitara viranaste adharamritam. O hero of charity, please deliver unto us the nectar of your lips. That nectar increases lusty desires for enjoyment and diminishes lamentation in the material world. Kindly give us the nectar of your lips, which are touched by your transcendently vibrating flute, for that nectar makes all human beings forget all other attachments. Shloka Shuni Mahaprabhu Mahatushta Hoila Radhara Utkanta Shloka Padite Lagila. Upon hearing Ramananda Roy quote this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Then he recited the following verse, which had been spoken by Srimati Radharani in great anxiety. Rajatula Kulangane Ganetara Rasali Krishna Hara Pradevyad adharamrita Sukriti Labhya Felalava Sudajid Ahivalika Sudala Vitika Charvita Samem Marana Mohana Saki Tanote Jivasriyam. My dear friend, the all-surpassing nectar from the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna can be obtained only after many, many pious activities. For the beautiful gopis of Vrindavan, that nectar vanquishes the desire for all other taste. Madan Mohan always choose pan that surpasses the nectar of heaven. He is certainly increasing the desires of my tongue. Eta kahe gora prabhu baba bishta hoya dui shlokera arta kore pralapa korea. After saying that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is overwhelmed by ecstatic loving emotions, talking like a madman, he began to explain the meaning of the two verses. Tanu mana karaya ko baraya surata lob Harsha Shokari Bara Vinashai Pasaraya Anyaras Jagat Kore Atmabas Lajjadara Darya Korikai Nagara Shuna Tumara Adara Charita Mataya Nariraman Jiva Kore Akarshan Vicharite Shaba Viparita. My dear lover, Lord Chaitanya said in the mood of Srimati Radharani, let me describe some of the characteristics of your transcendental lips. They agitate the mind and body of everyone. They increase lusty desires for enjoyment. They destroy the burden of material happiness and lamentation, and they make one forget all material taste. The whole world falls under their control. They vanquish shame, religion, and patience, especially in women. Indeed, they inspire madness in the minds of all women. Your lips increase the greed of the tongue and thus attract it. Considering all this, we see that the activities of your transcendental lips are always paradoxical. Achuka narerakai kahite basiyalaj tomara adara borad Drishtarai Purushe Korea Karshan Apana Pai Piyaite Man Anyara Saba Pasarai. My dear friends, since you are a male, it is not very extraordinary that the attraction of your lips can disturb the minds of women. But I am astonished to see that your impudent lips sometimes attract even your flute, which is also considered a male. It likes to drink the nectar of your lips, and thus it also forgets all other taste. Sachaitana Rahudure Achaitana Sachitana Kore Tomara Dara Bora Vajikar Tomara Venush Shushkendana tara janmai indriyaman tara apana piyaya nirantar. Aside from conscious living beings, even unconscious matter is sometimes made conscious by your lips. Therefore, your lips are great magicians. Paradoxically, although your flute is nothing but dry wood, your lips constantly make it drink their nectar. They create a mind and senses in the dry wooden flute and give it transcendental bliss. Venudrishta Purusha Haya Purusha Dara Piya Piya Gopigane Janai Nijapan Ahoshuna Gopigan Bole Pino Tomaradan Tomarajadi Take Abhiman. The flute is a very cunning male who drinks again and again the taste of another male's lips. It advertises its qualities and says to the gopis, "O gopis, if you are so proud of being women, come forward and enjoy your property, the nectar of the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Tabimore kroda kori lajabaya dharma chadi dimu kora ashipan. Nahe pimu nirandar tomaya mora nahikadar anye dekon trinera saman. Thereupon the flute said angrily to me, "Give up your shame, fear, and religion, and come drink the lips of Krishna. On that condition I shall give up my attachment for them. If you do not give up your shame and fear, however, I shall continuously drink the nectar of Krishna's lips. I am slightly fearful because you also have the right to drink that nectar, but as for the others, I consider them like straw." Adharamrita nija sware sanchariya se bole akarshaya trijagat jan amara dharma bhaya kori rahi jadid daryadori tabeamai kore vidamban. The nectar of Krishna's lips, combined with the vibration of his flute, attracts all the people of the three worlds. But if we gopis remain patient out of respect for religious principles, the flute then criticizes us. Nivi kashaya guru age lajad dharma koraya tyage keshe dori jena loya jai. Anikoraya tomaradasi shunilo korehasi emata narire nachai. The nectar of your lips and the vibration of your flute join together to loosen our belts and induce us to give up shame and religion, even before our superiors. As if catching us by our hair, they forcibly take us away and deliver us unto you to become your maidservants. Hearing of these incidents, people laugh at us. We have thus become completely subordinate to the flute. Shushka Banshara Latikan Etakori Apaman Edasha Korila Gosai Nasahi Ki Korite Pari Tahero He Monadari Chorara Maked Dake Kandite Nai. Your flute is nothing but a dry stick of bamboo, but it becomes our master and insults us in so many ways that it forces us into a predicament. What can we do but tolerate it? The mother of a thief cannot cry loudly for justice when the thief is punished. Therefore, we simply remain silent. Adarera eriti arashuna kuniti se adara shune jaramela se bakya bojapan hoy amrita saman namatara hoy Krishna fela. Such is the policy of these lips. Just consider some other injustices. Everything that touches these lips, including food, drink, or betel, becomes just like nectar. It is then called Krishna Fela, or remnants left by Krishna. Say Velara Eklav Napai Devatasab Es Dambeg Keba Patijai Bahujanma Punya Kore Tabe Sukriti Nama Dare E Sukrite Tara Lababhai. Even after much prayer, the demigods themselves cannot obtain even a small portion of the remnants of such food. Just imagine the pride of those remnants. Only a person who has acted piously for many, many births and has thus become a devotee can obtain the remnants of such food. Krishna Jai Kai Tambula Kohe Tarana Himala Tahe Ar Dhamma Paripati. Krishna Jai Kaya Tambula Kohe Tarana Himula Tahe Ar Dhamma Paripati. Tara Jeba Udgara Tare Kai Amritasar Gopira Mukha Kore Alabati. The betel chewed by Krishna is priceless, and the remnants of such chewed betel from his mouth are said to be the essence of nectar. When the gopis accept these remnants, their mouths become his spittoons. The betel chewed by Krishna is priceless, and the remnants of such chewed betel from his mouth are said to be the essence of nectar. When the gopis accept these remnants, their mouths become his spittoons. Esab tomara kutinati shada e paripati benu dware kohe harapran apanara hashi lagit nahanadira barabadi deha nija adharamrita dan. Therefore, my dear Krishna, please give up all the tricks you have set up so expertly. Do not try to kill the life of the gopis with the vibration of your flute. Because of your joking and laughing, you are becoming responsible for the killing of women. It would be better for you to satisfy us by giving us the charity of the nectar of your lips. Kohite kohite prabhurman firigela kroda amsha shanta hoila utkanta barila. When Mahaprabhu was talking like this, his mind changed, his anger subsided, but his mental agitation increased. Parama durlabe Krishna adharamrita tahaje pai tara safala jivita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, this nectar from Krishna's lips is supremely difficult to obtain, but if one gets some, his life becomes successful. Jogyahaya keho koritena pai pan tatapi se nirlajya arta dare pran. When a person competent to drink that nectar does not do so, that shameless person continues his life uselessly. Ajogya hayataha keho sarapana kore Jogya jan nahi pai lobe matra mare. There are persons who are unfit to drink that nectar, but who nevertheless drink it continuously, whereas some who are suitable never get it and thus die of greed. Tate jane kon tapasyara achebo ajogere deojai Krishna-nama phone. It is therefore to be understood that such an unfit person must have obtained the nectar of Krishna's lips on the strength of some austerity. Kaharamarai kichu shunite hoiman babajane parirai gopira bachan. Again, Mahaprabhu said to Ramananda Roy, please say something, I want to hear. Understanding the situation, Ramananda Roy recited the following words of the gopis. Gopya kim acharad ayam kushalam smavinur darom damo dara dara shudam api gopikanam bhunkte swayam yad abashishta rasam rida dinyo rishat tvacho shru numuchus tarovo yatarya. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose banks the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. This verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, is part of a discussion the gopis had among themselves. As the autumn season began in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna was tending the cows and blowing on his flute. The gopis then began to taste Krishna. The gopis then began to praise Krishna and discuss the fortunate position of his flute. Shloka shuni prabhu baba bhishtahaya utkantate artakore pralapa korea. Upon hearing the recitation of this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, becoming absorbed in ecstatic love and with a greatly agitated mind, he began to explain the meaning like a madman. Upon hearing the recitation of this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became absorbed in ecstatic love, and with a greatly agitated mind, he began to explain its meaning like a madman. Eho Brajendra Nandan Brajera Kon Kanyagan Avashya Koriba Parinoi Se Sambande Gopigan Jarimane Nijadan Eshuda Anjara Labya Noi. Some gopis said to other gopis, just see the astonishing pastimes of Krishna, the son of Brajendra. He will certainly marry all the gopis of Vrindavan. Therefore, the gopis know for certain that the nectar of Krishna's lips is their own property and cannot be enjoyed by anyone else. No one else but the gopis. Gopigan kahasab korea bichare kon tirta kon tapa kon shuddha mantra jap Evenu koila janmantare. My dear gopis, fully consider how many pious activities this flute performed in his past life. We do not know what places of pilgrimage he visited, what austerities he performed, or what perfect mantra he chanted. Hena Krishna Dara Shuddha Jay Koila Amrita Muda Chara Ashai Gopi Dare Pran Ebenu Ajogya Ati Stavara Purusha Jati Se Shuddha Sada Koripan. Hena Krishna Dara Shuddha, Jai Koila Amrita Muda, Jara Ashai Gopi Dare Pran, Benu, Ajogya Ati, Stavara Purusha Jati, Se Shuddha Sara Korepan. This flute is utterly unfit because it is merely a dead bamboo stick. Moreover, it belongs to the male sex. Yet this flute is always drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, which surpasses nectarian sweetness of every description. Only by hoping for that nectar do the gopis continue to live. Jaradana kohetare panakore balatkare pitetare dakiya janai tara tapasyara phala deka ihara bhagyabala ihara uchishta mahajanikai. Although the nectar of Krishna's lips is the absolute property of the gopis, the flute, which is just an insignificant stick, is forcibly drinking the nectar and loudly inviting the gopis to come drink it also. Just imagine the strength of the flute's austerities and good fortune. Even great devotees drink the nectar of Krishna's lips after the flute has done so. Manasa Ganga Kalindi Bhuvana Pravani Nadi Krishna Jari Tate Koresnan Benura Jutadara Ras Hoya Lobe Parabas Se Kole Harshe Korepan. When Krishna takes his bath in universally purifying rivers like the Jamuna and the Ganges of the celestial world, the great personalities of those rivers greedily and jubilantly drink the remnants of the nectarian juice from his lips. Etanare rahudure brikasab tara tire tapakore para upakari nadira sesha rasapan maladware akarshya Kenipiye bujitena pari. Aside from the rivers, the trees standing on the banks like great ascetics and engaging in welfare activities for all living entities drink the nectar of Krishna's lips by drawing water from the river with their roots. We cannot understand why they drink like that. From their roots. We can't understand why they drink like that. Nijakuri Vulakita Pushpe Hasya Vikashita Madhumishe Bahe Ashrudar Menore Mani Nijajati Arjara Jena Putra Nati Vaishnava Hoile Ananda Bikar. The trees on the banks of the Jamuna and Ganges are always jubilant. They appear to be smiling with their flowers and shedding tears in the form of flowing honey, just as the forefathers of a Vaishnava son or grandson feel transcendental bliss. The trees feel blissful because the flute is a member of their family. Benora tapa jani jabe e tapa hari tabe e ajogya amara jogya nari jana paya duke more ajogya piye sahite pari. Benora tapa jani jabe Se tapa koritabe e jogya amara jogya nari jana paya duke mari ajogya piye sahite nari taha lagi tapasya bichari. The gopis considered the flute is completely unfit for his position. We want to know what kind of austerities the flute executed, so that we may also perform the same austerities. Although the flute is unfit, he is drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, Seeing this, we qualified gopis are dying of unhappiness. Therefore, we must consider the austerities the flute underwent in his past life. Eteka pralapa kori, premaveshe gorahari, sangeloya swarup ramarai, kabunache kabugai, babaveshe morchajai, erupe ratri dina jai. While thus speaking like a madman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became full of ecstatic emotion. In the company of his two friends, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, he sometimes danced, sometimes sang, and sometimes became unconscious in ecstatic love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his days and nights in this way. Swarup Rupa Sanatan, Raghunath das Sri Charan, Shire Dori, Kore Jara Chaitanya Charitamrita, Amrita Hoite, Adharamrita, Giya Dina, Hina, Krishna-das. Expecting the mercy of Swarup, Rupa, Sanatan, and Raghunath das, and taking their lotus feet on my head, I, the most fallen Krishna-das, continue chanting the epic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is sweeter than the nectar of transcendental bliss. Thus and the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila 16th chapter, describing the nectar flowing from Sri Krishna's lotus lips. And also today is the disappearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur, who's written a Chaitanya Bhagavat. These two books, Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, they're from the lifetime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both give us an account of his activities. Vrindavan Das Thakur is concentrating on the aspect of Gaur Narayan, of the Lord when he's in Navadip, and especially showing that the Lord is manifesting the Sankirtan movement and his activities performed there, and the idea of Gaur Narayan. And Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving everything, but especially the later pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we're hearing from in this Antya-lila. So Krishna-das Kavi Goswami refers to Vrindavan Das as the Vyas of Chaitanya Lila, that he has given what is Chaitanya Lila. But also Vrindavan Das says in the future, the Lord will come or send his exalted devotee, that Vyas will come himself and finish the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll say that Vrindavan Das and Krishna-das Kaviraj, expressed in the Vrindavan Das in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Krishna-das Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that these two, especially these two authors, will give us these two books, which will give us the essence of the life and activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So today we offer our respects, we honor and prostrate ourselves at the lotus feet of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Jai. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shamista Puran Echai Gosai Jarmui Taradas Kasavar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Kadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Abhilas Echai Gosai Jabe Brache Koilabas Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyash Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamuna Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyash Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamadass Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajaka Charyasta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Nirmawacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajaka Charyasta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajaka Charyasta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kavi Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Man Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Kuladvip Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sokel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan, Shyam Kun Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai, Shri Purushottama Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai, Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya, Shri Nishingadev Ki Jai, Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Tirubhav Mahotsav Ki Jai. Divine Disappearance Day of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai.